Hi, I'm Mary Jo. I have been a nurse for 50 years. I have lost over 100 pounds as a postmenopausal woman and reversed chronic disease in my life. And I'm here today to thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I noticed so many people have listened to the video where I discuss what I eat in a day's time. And I just thought that was amazing. So I wanted to kind of broaden the umbrella of where I select my food choices from, if you will, by describing what the research seems to suggest is the healthiest food on this earth. Not exclusive. There are many other things that are good choices. It depends on your physical energy, vitality needs, which are going to be very different probably from my own. So, anyway, in order to discuss the world's healthiest foods, I'm going to steal, yes, naughty girl, I'm going to steal from Dr. Joel Fuhrman. He coined the phrase GBOMBS, GBOMBS. G, greens and cruciferous vegetables. Why? They produce an awesome antioxidant response in the body. This prevents infections. This encourages well-being. This allows healing. It's just a wonderful state of being. Also, what's really fantastic is that this antioxidant response can get rid of cancer cells, or it can actually repair damaged DNA. I never knew that body could do that. The body is such a miracle. So, B stands for beans. Green beans is fine, but we're really talking legumes here. You know, black beans, kidney beans, cannella beans, garbanzo beans, lentils, edamame, soybeans, then the list goes on and on and on. Now, don't worry about beans, because I did, and I thought I had a kind of a GI disturbance, but of course, I sometimes do things whole hog, which did not work out well, because when I started this, my microbiome was not in good shape at all. So, of course, it caused a certain amount of distress. I have found that by adding legumes to your diet just in very small quantities and gradually increasing them, your body will grow the bacteria that need to utilize that substance. And the resistant starch is like a powerful food for symbiotic bacteria that help keep you well, if you will, for symbiotic bacteria. So it's a win-win situation, and it sometimes requires some patience. I suggest you not use something like Beano, because it will prevent the interactions that produce healthy chemicals in the body. For example, when you eat beans, the resistant starch is fed upon by good bacteria, which produce butyrate, which, believe it or not, is a fatty acid that has extreme, wonderful anti-inflammatory properties to it. So you don't want to inhibit that reaction. Another thing great about beans is they diminish the ability to absorb glucose. Okay, so the next letter is O for onions and garlic and chives and all of their relatives. These foods are anti-infective, antibacterial, antiparasitic, antifungal, antiviral. Yes, they really empower the immune system with great brilliance. M is for mushrooms. And I've read a lot of articles that suggest the use of exotic mushrooms, and using a diversity of food is always a good idea. However, I have learned that your common everyday cheaper mushroom varieties are also wonderful foods that improve immune response and definitely anti-cancer. The next acronym, the B, is for berries, cherries, and pomegranates. Now, you can eat all the fruits you want. Well, I shouldn't say that, because you really want a vegetable-based diet, not a fruit-based diet. but other fruits are definitely good for you. Berries is exclusively mentioned because of its high micronutrient density complement. Um, Berries can provide increased nitric oxide to blood vessels, which increases their elasticity. Isn't that fabulous? And they also have an anti-cancer effect. So berries, cherries, and pomegranates. Some every day is great. And if you want an apple or a banana or an orange, that is also great. Okay, S, seeds and nuts. Seeds probably have a higher micronutrient complement than nuts do, but both of these foods provide what I'm going to call very nutritional good fats. Um, they allow a better omega-3, omega-6 balance. Now, there are some gurus out there in the vegetarian community, if you will, and they're not very pro-fat. They're kind of against it. I just say be careful, because there are research studies on healthy fats in nuts and seeds. This is not going to carry over to butter. This is not going to carry over to olive oil. This is about nuts and seeds that protect cognition and memory and prevent arrhythmia. So these are the bomb. And having a little bit, because they're caloric density, and if you're not a young person or not a major athlete, you only need so much. I hope that I don't have more than a half ounce per meal per day. So maybe 1 to 1.5 ounces. And I do that because when I eat vegetables, I want to make sure I'm able to absorb all the fat-soluble nutrients. There are fat-soluble vitamins, carotenoids, and some flavonoids require a fat carrier. If you add just a little bit of seeds or nuts to a salad, you're going to absorb 50 to 70% more phytonutrients. And that's where it is at in terms of health and healing and happiness. So I hope that makes sense to you. Go out there and investigate how can I take these GBOMBS and make them into a wonderful casserole for dinner tonight, or a soup or a stew, or even use in part for some sort of for a savory oatmeal. There's so many different ways you can use these food products. Now, like I said before, these are not exclusive. Eating other things is wonderful. I did not mention whole grains. And the reason I didn't mention whole grains is that to me, and maybe not to you, but to me, they're just kind of down on the nutrient density pole. Now, I did find this bread, and I thought I'd show it to you. I thought this was kind of an interesting bread product. I wish there's 3 types of this bread that I found. There's one that's rye. Whoops, I made it so you can't see the name. Let's see if I can make it so you can see the name. One of these foods is rye. One of these foods is pumpernickel. This one's called fitness bread. It has a little bit of everything in it. And this is not only whole grain, but it has intact grain in it as well. It probably, for every 2 to 3 carbs, it has a gram of fiber, so it's a very high fiber product. And the company is MESTEMACHER. Oh, that's cute. I'm reading it and it looks totally backwards to my visual pattern. So not to detain you too long on talking about bread products, just be careful, because in the U.S., most of our bread products are really like eating sugar. They're just white flour. They might have some honey in them that makes them taste good. Most of them are made out of refined flour with a high glycemic effect, and so are not really adding to our overall health and nutrition. Ezekiel bread, however, is a product that has a lot of whole grain capability to it. So I don't eat a lot of bread. I don't find it necessary, but some people need to have a few more choices in their dietary portfolio. Another thought I have just off the top of my head is that there's foods like quinoa Nothing wrong with quinoa. I don't eat a lot of it, but I think it's wonderful. Make sure you rinse it, or sometimes people will feel a little bit ill after they eat it. Well, I also like things like mixing up recipes with tempeh and tofu. See, the problem with me is I want to tell you everything that I can think of, and I really should not be doing that. So, when I go to the store, when I think about what meals I'm going to have, I concentrate on infusing the GBOMBS in appropriate amounts into every meal. And with this, I have turned my health around dramatically. So here's to you. And remember, it's all about you. What of this helps you? Certainly, GBOMBS will. But remember, you may need a little bit more power in your diet than this crazy lady does. Well, that's all for now. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye from Nurse Mary Jo. And thank you.